All of a sudden I would go to a depressive state for days and then came back to happiness. My emotional state was very messy. I couldn't be happy for long and I couldn't stay sad for a long time too. It was very crazy. No, I was not stable actually. Never.
Kiki, a warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a bit who you are and where your journey begins.
So, I'm Kiki, I'm 20 years old, and I'm a student. I'm gonna tell you about my story, and I hope it helps you too. When I was a kid, I used to be a very happy kid, very nice to people, very warm. I used to welcome everybody and say hello to people on the streets. I was very, very happy. And when I was 12, everything changed because I went to a school where I didn't feel connected to the people my age, and I started to talk with people that were way older than me. They were 15 to 17 years old, and I was just 12. But that is where the problem started. I used to let those people to my house. I used to let them do whatever they wanted to do. They started to steal things from my house. My parents were mad. And when I said, it's over, I don't want to be friends with y'all, they started to bully me mentally. They were tormenting me and they made me go and went through depression all alone. And one of those people from that group did something very bad. He planned something against me, plotted something against me, and thanks to him and the whole group, I was sexually abused by someone when I was 12, and that made me go even more bad in my depression. I started to self-mutilate. I still have the scars. And I used to isolate myself from everybody, from my parents. I didn't want to be around anyone. And all the time when I went to school, I was bullied. So I didn't feel safe anywhere. And that made me be like, wow, there's life, there's something. I want to know who created me and why I'm here, because I know that I'm not here just to suffer. And that made me look up for religions and everything around, because I have a Christian mom and a Muslim dad. I was like, how many religions are there? And I started to search it up. I learned a little bit about Christianity. I learned about Islamism. I read about Taoism and Buddhism, and I was especially focused on Taoism first because it was very interesting to me, and that made me go to spirituality, where
And what in Taoism interested you at the time? Was it like the nature? Was it all the meditation? Or what drew you to Taoism?
it was to nature, and actually I as well to meditation, because I felt like I was at peace. It was very zen and chilled, and it was the reason why I started to work with crystals. I used to manifest a lot, work with elements like water, speak to water, doing spells. I started to learn a lot about numerology and astrology. I was an expert at that because I was learning everything. And then I had a friend where she used to do tarot cards, and she used to read my life to me, the future stuff that were happening at the time, and I was like, what, how do you know all that? And I wanted to also know how to work with the cards. She taught me some things. She taught me the meaning behind some cards. She didn't teach me how to read, but I knew some things about that thing too. And that's that's how it happened. I used to sage my house as well and do things that were spiritual, but that didn't change nothing in my life. I was still depressed. I used to self isolate and I was really sad. I was sad and then I was happy. I was happy and then all of a sudden I would go to a depressive state for days and then came back to happiness. My emotional state was very messy. I couldn't be happy for long and I couldn't stay sad for a long time too. It was very crazy. No, I was not stable actually. Never. But when I was doing all of those things, sometimes I would feel like, "Oh, okay, I'm at peace," but it didn't change much. And at the time, after some time, I used to work on a bubble tea shop, and a lady came and gave me a bracelet, which was one with the evil eye. In spirituality, it used to mean that it's protection, but in my mind, I was like, wow, thank you. Because it was out of nowhere. She just gave me. And I posted. And one of my friends, Dario, he responded to the photo and said, that's not good. And I was like, what do you mean? It is. And then in the same day, I got fired for my job. So I was like, maybe he's right. I threw off the bracelet and then talked to him. And he said, do you want to come to my church? I was like, okay, I can come because I have a open mind and heart. And I was like, okay, I can go. The day I went to his church, I was lost. I couldn't find the church until the end of everything. I stayed there after, played with people because there were games. It was young, a youth service. And the next day it was a Sunday. And I said, I'm going to come because people were so warm and fun to be around. I'm going to come. And on the next day, I came. And for the first time, when I stepped inside, I felt the presence of God. I was tearing up. I was mind blown because I didn't feel that peace ever in my life. And I just didn't know what to do. So I just kept crying the whole time. And that was the first time I encountered God in my life. After that, it made me come back. And on the third day I came, I received the Bible from a friend and I started to learn the word, to read the word. I was very interested in theology and I started to learn as well theology. And then I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And now I serve in the church. I'm not depressed anymore. I don't feel sad anymore. And I'm happy and I'm back into being the person that I was before all the trauma. I'm a nice person, very warm. Now I like to be around people, talk to people, help people. And that's it. That's what God made me.
And like I hear you went through all these different spiritualities and you thought you were into these systems, you were learning all these numbers, all these astrological things, but you still felt empty. And all of
Yes.
a sudden, here you are walking into a simple church and you get touched by something so radical. How does that compare? How does the feeling of that compare?
It's like, wow, it's amazing. Because back then, I used to feel like, oh, I think I found the power, the source. But I was still depressed. So I was a little bit confused, but okay. But when I found the presence of the Lord on the church, all the pain that I had, I didn't feel anymore. The trauma, gone. Depression, gone. Self mutilation, gone. Mental and emotional problems, gone. Totally gone. So that was the moment I knew I know the real God and I know who created me. Not just because of that, but because I have now a relationship with him. He guides me, he talks to me, he helps me through stuff. But when I was on my spiritual journey, I didn't feel that. I didn't have that, and that's a big difference. That is the big difference. Now I feel alive and before I was alive, but I felt dead. I was feeling dead alive. I was alive, but no. My mental state was awful. And now it's good. Back again.
Wow, so it seems you found this very deep inner healing from what I'm hearing, right? It
Yes,
was not just your life outside, but something deep within you changed, right?
exactly. God helped me. He made me a new creature. I'm not the same anymore. I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. I'm not not stable. I'm very stable emotionally now. And when I was a kid, I used to, before the trauma, I used to be very nice. I used to give more than I could even receive. I always wanted to be friends with people, and a lot of the times, the people that I wanted to be friends with didn't want to be my friends, and that made me a little sad. But never stopped me from being nice to them. I used to bring them gifts, food, just because I wanted to be a part of them, and I think that's a small problem. That's where it started because when I was 12 and depressed, I'd rather be with the people that hurt me than being alone because I wanted to feel a part of something. I wanted to be like in a group. And now I don't feel that. I don't have the necessity of being accepted by people, especially people that want to hurt me. Now I'm good because I'm with God and He fulfills me. He makes me feel happy and I don't feel sad anymore.
Wow, that's a very beautiful journey of healing and integration.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful story of healing.
Thank you for having me.